There was a time when Britain's roads felt completely different. When early mornings were filled with the soft hum of engines warming up under a gray sky, and every high street had a rhythm of its own. Petrol stations weren't just places to fill up. They were part of the journey. Attendants leaned out with a cloth in hand, cleaning windscreens while exchanging a few quiet words. Children stood outside showroom windows, staring wide-eyed at cars they didn't yet understand, but somehow already loved. The air carried a mix of petrol, rain, and possibility. And the cars, they weren't just machines, they were part of everyday life. The 1960s was a decade of transformation in Britain, a time when the country slowly moved forward, balancing tradition with something new, something bold. And the cars of that era reflected it perfectly. They weren't just built to move people, they carried stories, dreams, and the quiet ambitions of a nation finding its way. Today, on Britain Rewind, we're counting down 10 of the most iconic cars that defined Britain in the 1960s. Machines that didn't just travel roads, but shaped the feeling of an entire generation. Stay with us, because the number one car might not be what you expect. Number 10. Ford Anglia. The Ford Anglia quickly became a familiar sight across Britain in the early 60s. Parked neatly outside terraced homes, lined up along narrow streets, or waiting patiently near school gates on rainy mornings. It was simple, reliable, and built for everyday life. But what made it stand out was its unmistakable rear window, angled in a way that gave it a character all its own. Inside, it felt modest but warm, a place where families shared short trips and longer journeys alike. The Anglia didn't try to impress, it simply did its job, and did it well. But as the decade moved forward, people began looking for something more expressive. And that's where the next car comes in. Number 9. Mini. Few cars ever captured the spirit of a country quite like this one. Small, clever, and full of personality, the Mini redefined what a car could be. It made crowded city streets manageable, turning tight spaces into opportunities. From London to Liverpool, it became part of daily life. Young drivers loved its playful nature. Families appreciated its efficiency. And somehow, it fit into every part of society without effort. Driving it felt alive. Every turn, every bump, every gear change reminded you that this car had character. And while trends came and went, the Mini stayed. Number 8. Triumph Herald. The Triumph Herald brought something different to the table. It offered a touch of elegance without stepping too far into luxury. Its design felt open and refined, and its handling made it perfect for Britain's narrow roads. It was the kind of car people chose for weekend drives through the countryside. Windows down, fresh air rushing in, and the road stretching quietly ahead. It wasn't loud or flashy. It was calm, balanced, and quietly confident. But as newer designs began to emerge, the Herald slowly stepped back, making room for change. Number 7. Vauxhall Victor. The Vauxhall Victor represented progress. It was the car of rising expectations, driven by families building a better life, or professionals moving steadily forward in their careers. It had space, comfort, and a sense of purpose. Inside, everything felt practical and considered. Long drives felt smooth, predictable, and reassuring. Seeing one parked outside a home often meant stability, consistency, a quiet sense of achievement. But as tastes evolved, people began wanting something sharper, something more modern. Number 6. Rover P5. The Rover P5 carried a presence that couldn't be ignored. It was refined, measured, and built with intention. This wasn't just a car, it was a statement. Seen outside important buildings, gliding through city streets, or arriving quietly at formal events. Everything about it felt deliberate. The interior was rich, the ride was smooth, and the experience was unmistakably premium. For many, it represented a level of success they hoped to reach. But over time, even this level of formality began to shift. Number 5. Ford Cortina. The Ford Cortina was everywhere. And that's exactly what made it special. It wasn't rare. It wasn't exclusive. It was real. Driven by workers, families. The Ford Cortina was a symbol of the everyday drive toward progress, ease, and young couples starting their journey. It was practical, affordable, and dependable. The kind of car that became part of everyday routines. Morning commutes, shopping trips, holiday drives. It handled them all without fuss. And as the years passed, it became one of the most recognizable shapes on British roads. Number 4. Jaguar E-Type. Then there was the car everyone noticed, even if they never owned one. The Jaguar E-Type wasn't just admired, it was experienced. From the moment it appeared, it changed how people saw cars. Sleek lines, low stance, and a presence that demanded attention. When it passed by, conversation stopped. People turned. It wasn't just about performance, it was about emotion. For many, it became a symbol of what was possible, a reminder that beauty and engineering could exist together. Number 3. Austin 1100. Not every important car needed to stand out. The Austin 1100 proved that. It focused on comfort, balance, and everyday usability. Its ride felt smooth, even on rough roads. Families trusted it, relied on it, lived with it. It became part of ordinary life in a way few cars could. Children grew up in its back seats. Memories were made inside it. It wasn't flashy, but it mattered. Number 2. Hillman Imp. The Hillman Imp arrived with ambition. It was different. Engine layout, lightweight design, and a fresh approach to small cars. It offered something new, something exciting. Young drivers especially connected with it. It felt responsive, energetic, and full of potential. But challenges along the way made its journey more complicated. Even so, it left its mark, and became part of Britain's automotive story. And now, number 1, Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. This was something else entirely. Not just a car, but a statement of excellence. Everything about it spoke of precision, craftsmanship, attention to detail. From the quiet strength of its design to the luxury of its interior, it stood at the very top. Most people only saw it from a distance, outside hotels, on special occasions, or passing by in silence. But even then, it left an impression. It wasn't about speed, it wasn't about attention, it was about presence, and it reminded people of something important, that craftsmanship still mattered, that quality still meant something. Together, these cars tell a deeper story, a story of a country changing, growing, and moving forward. They reflect the lives of ordinary people, their routines, their hopes, their journeys, because in the end, these weren't just cars, they were part of everyday life. Moments shared, roads traveled, memories created. So now we ask you, which of these cars would you choose to experience for yourself? Let us know in the comments, and join us again on Britain Rewind, as we continue exploring the machines that quietly shaped history.